Blue collar, white collar, black professors, white scholars, politicians, Dalai Lamas. Everybody in the whole wide world need hope if I be honest. I'm in that number.
Hey, good day. Welcome to another episode of Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown, and I continue to want to thank everybody for liking, sharing, and commenting and subscribing to the channel. If you haven't done that, stop. Hammer time. No, I'm just subscribe time. Go ahead and hit that button. I like it. Trying to get at least 200 likes a day from each segment, and share the videos because I try my best to talk about some things that are important to you, me, and this entire country. And I'm going to talk about one today because it's getting ridiculous. I'm going to take my glasses off for a second before I go into that. See that lady right there? That is Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, other than Bernie Sanders, maybe Nina Turner, Jill Stein, John Mubaraka, are some of the most credible politicians around right now. Haven't been tainted by corporate donors and the military complex, the industrial complex, the medical, big pharma and all that. Haven't been tainted by them. Now, what I want to get to right now, because I need to send a message to YouTube or anybody who think they're going to silence me, or anybody that's on YouTube. I just got through watching a video, and I might do a little video on this, about Angela Rye, who said that if you're talking about helping black people and reparations for just black people, descendants of slaves, that if you fell for that mentality, you fell for a Russian propaganda. I know it sounds stupid, surprisingly coming from her mouth, but I'll talk about that a little later. I want to talk about Tulsi Gabbard because right now, they're on full stop trying to smear this woman. Now, I have couple of things about her that I do question, but overall, she's owning on a lot of issues. Now, she recently released her campaign. She recently did her first campaign rally at her hometown. Wasn't big, wasn't flamboyant, but everything she talked about was of substance. And one day I'm gonna do a breakdown of that speech. But I'm gonna show you a little bit of what she talked about when she had her first campaign rally in, I believe, Honolulu, Hawaii. I don't know, but let's watch this segment from her video. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at her website. You can always go to Tulsi 2020. We're going to keep it fair. We're going to look at her website, and the website looks like this. As soon as my internet can catch up with going backwards. I don't know what's going on with this internet. All right, so this is Tulsi Gabbard's website. They have Aloha launch. I'm not going to go into detail about the launch. There is a quick video. If you want people who you believe in to win, it's going to take money for advertisement, money for them to go on the campaign trail, and rather small dollars from the people versus big corporations giving money. Because when they give money, they expect something in return. We give money, we expect something in return. We expect you to do the bidding of us. So let's do our best to blow these people who are getting corporate money, dark money, light money, brown money, white money, blue money, it doesn't matter. If you're getting it from any kind of corporate establishment or getting it through people via corporate establishment, then that's a problem. And we ain't for this billionaire stuff. I'm telling you right now, I ain't supporting no billionaires. Billionaires should not be running because billionaires do not have any empathy for the regular person. Even when they're regular themselves, they in a whole nother level right now. They don't understand you anymore. So let's start with the billionaire stuff. All right, so let me go back into this. I want to go backwards a little bit because there was a video. All right. So it said visit the new website, and I think once you click this, this is votetulsi.com. This is her original website. Now, if you go to her website as senator, you'll see her endorsements, the different people that endorse her. crazy unions, military organizations. I mean, unions support her. Military organizations support her. Political groups like Our Revolution support her. You know, and so, you know, take some time, you get a chance to look at her vision for America. It goes here. But she just redid the website. So let's take a look at the website. Now, when you take a look at the website, you're going to see this video, her campaign video. Let me start with that one.
Like so many of you, it is painful and disheartening to see how much divisiveness is being fomented by those who wish to tear us apart. We have people in positions of power who are not thinking about the well-being of the people and our planet. Where is that conversation about the needs of our people? Where is the conversation about peace? Every time we launch these interventionist regime change wars, it is not only our veterans who pay the price for that. Every single one of us pays the price. We have spent trillions of your taxpayer dollars to pay for these wars, taking those dollars away from our communities and our people who need them right here at home. We are the ones who have the power to make change. It takes every single one of our hands, our hearts, and our voices, motivated by this love and aloha, to take on those forces and those obstacles that can seem too great to overcome. There is no force more powerful than love. This is how we come together as Americans. This is why we fight for the future that we hope will be so much brighter for those that we care about, for the country that we love.
Now, as you saw in that video, very moving video, in the video, her first video, it wasn't that, oh, Mickey, you so fine, trying to make you feel good and talk about these platitudes and words. She actually went into things she's been through, the hurt and pain, the suffering she see, the suffering she experienced, side by side with people who learned the cost of war. People losing their legs, losing their life. I mean, life totally changed. Some people not coming home. Her friends, she worked in the medical unit. So she knows what it's like to deal with people who really went through this stuff. So she is not for war, and she is for peace. And because she is for peace and willing to do anything for peace, they want to smear her and look down on her. For an example, she went to talk to, you know, I'm not going to go in to deal with any, there's a lot more people that know about that. I'm going to just deal with the side situation. Instead of her putting in a vote to strike on Assad, she said, let me go down to the situation and look at the situation myself. My vote can bite me in the butt if I give it unwisely, without thought, and without educating myself on the ground. I'm not going to listen to CIA or CIA or whatever you want to call it. The alphabet boys. I'm going to take my own trip. I don't need y'all permission. Forget y'all. Who said I need Congress permission? Who are y'all to tell me what I can and cannot do? I'm an American. I got the freedom to go wherever I choose. I'm going to go down on the ground and find out what's happening. And if I can, as a diplomat, as a soldier, as an American, as a senator, I'm going to do whatever I can to really find out what's going on. Even if I can get a chance to talk to Assad himself and try to at least come to some kind of consensus with this guy. And he may be terrible, but I still want to know the whole picture, because I'm not just going to take the picture of the CIA. I need to take a picture from his side of the story, our country's side of the story, and the people's side of the story. Why are you going to believe him? Well, why are we going to believe the United States? We lie more than anybody. Like this thing in Venezuela is a lie. So she is for peace. She is for getting rid of the regime change war. She is for taking that money that we spending out on these falsified war, because we got CIA backing rebels, we got the Secret Service backing rebels, we got certain intelligence agencies backing, and we starting wars, funding both sides. And she's saying no. So she goes to Congress and she put out a bill called the Stop Funding Terrorists Act. In other words, America needs to stop funding. I don't care if on what side or not. Stop funding them just because you want to get this guy out of office. And let these people determine what they want to do. Who business is this of ours? Mind your business. As a result of these things, she's being smeared. She's being smeared. And I'm going to show you an article, a disgusting article about her being smeared. All right, this is from NBC News of all places. Nothing but a bunch of crock. Nothing but crock. That's what NBC stands for. Nothing but crock. It's a Russian propaganda machine discovers 2020 Democratic candidate Tulsi Gabbard. Here they go with this Russia crap. Here they go with this red bait. And this is what I'm telling you. I'm promoting her because of her policies right now as we speak. Do that mean I'm going to vote for her? No. I'm going over the policies so you can get an understanding of what she's all about. Her heart. You can feel her heart so you can listen to her. Russian propaganda machine discovers 2020 Democratic candidate Tulsi Gabbard. Now, before we go into this article, we're going to watch another video trying to get a good understanding of Tulsi Gabbard. You're talking about a video of substance. And a person who seems, I'm not saying she do, has the heart of the people. Let me see. Is there more videos of Gabbard? Let's see. There's one more video I want to go over. I don't want the full speech. Well, her on Veterans Day. All right, this is the one I think I want.
When we raise our right hand and volunteer to serve, we set aside our own interests to serve our country, to fight for all Americans. It is this principle of service above self that is at the heart of every soldier, at the heart of every service member. And it is in this spirit that today I announce my candidacy for President of the United States of America. I will bring this soldier's principles to the White House, restoring the values of dignity, honor, and respect to the presidency, and above all else, love for our people and love for our country. So I ask you to join me. Join me in putting this spirit of service above self at the forefront and to stand up against the forces of greed and corruption. John F. Kennedy once said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." We must heed this call to action today. We must stand up. We must fight for the soul of our country.
And then we're going to go over to some of the issues. Again, MSNBC came up with this horrible article trying to smear her and try to smear anybody that gives support to Tulsi Gabbard would be influenced by Russian propaganda. Tell you people you need to push back on these dumb idiots. The only people that are doing this is the Democratic Party. Republicans could care less. And I'm no fan of the Republicans. I'm sure no fan of the Democrats. But they're the one pushing this Russian propaganda. Why? Because they just can't understand that Hillary Clinton sucked so bad as a campaigner. She didn't know how to campaign in the right states. And even though she got more votes than anybody, we live in a country that is ran by the Electoral College. And she did not know how to play connect the dots or battleship or whatever you want to call it. A little old school game. She don't even know it. How you got to take over territories, not try to just take votes. They just still try to make up this fake thing that Hillary Clinton it had to be something because she was the most qualified candidate. No, she was horrible. We had two horrible candidates running for office, and those two horrible candidates were being looked at by the FBI, and both of them should have been canceled out, and Bernie Sanders should have had the nomination, and let's say Jeb Bush would have had the nomination, and it would have been an easy beating of Republican Jeb Bush, an easy beatdown handed to him by the hands of Bernie Sanders. But no. As soon as this stuff is exposed about how they crooked their way to get Hillary Clinton the nomination, they want to try to press them. They want to get it off of them being the crooks, them being the con artists, them being the schemers, and put it on you. Put it on Russia. Put it on Tulsi Gabbard, because Tulsi Gabbard saw from the jump start how they was rigging this election. Let me get back to me. She saw from the jump start how they was rigging this election. From the beginning, they saw how Debbie Wasserman Schultz, or Debbie, as I say, Debbie, watch her, man, she sucks sauce. How she conned and scheming and manipulated to try to get her best friend Hillary the edge in the situation. She was already mad, pissed off, ticked off that the nerves of Bernie Sanders to primary her. Thank God he did, because New York City wouldn't have $15 minimum wage. New York City wouldn't have no cost education for anybody making $250,000. He pushed the narrative and almost beat her. And political analysts said would have beat her if she didn't do her conniving, scheming thing along with Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Nara Tandon, Robbie Mook, and John Podesta and all them hacks. This woman of integrity decided that I can't sit here on this thing knowing that y'all doing this to this man. Besides, this man is right on the issues, and y'all don't want to play fair by this guy, so I got to step down. And she did. She was the vice chair of the DNC. That's the power that Tulsi Gabbard had. Why did they put her on that committee? Because she was a woman of honor. Why they put Debbie Wasserman as a president? I don't know, because she sure ain't no woman of honor. As crooked as they come. Ask your boy Tim Canova. Crook, 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 crook. So now she announced that she's running. I don't know what the deal is with Bernie. Bernie kind of slowfoot. Maybe it's the age. But he's slowfoot. He have not announced. So she announced, by far, on policies, the best candidate out there. On record, the best candidate out there. The legislation she pushed to really help people. They help homeless people. They help poor people. They help veterans. They bring the money from overseas back into the pockets of the Americans. So good for working people and people that are black, brown, Hispanic, you name it. Policies that she's pushed that they try to stop her at every chance, because I dare you push good policies when you did not support our Hillary Clinton. So they're on the rampage right now to smear and put her down. Why? Because she's a threat to Kamala Harris. Because Kamala Harris, when it comes to my community, smart black people is not buying into the bull crap of Kamala Harris, who I call the female version of Joe Clark. The cop. The crooked cop. The hard-nosed, I won't say crooked, but the hard-nosed cop that want to be totalitarian, want to be a dictator with her position. Lord knows if she become president of the United States, that's just too much power for her. Well, she had her first meeting. Kamala Harris had her first meeting, and yeah, she had a big crowd, but you're in your hometown. You better, your hometown of a major metropolitan city, you better have somebody out there. But the whole thing was so phony to me. This is just me. So phony. I believe her campaign team said, look, you got everything Obama have. You have the look, you have the talk, you have the ethnicity. You got that going on. Black people feel you. You graduated from Howard University. They're going to feel that. You're part of sorority. They're going to feel that. Black people going to feel that. As if black people going to fall for that crap. Like we are sitting around saying we're looking for somebody that's a Kappa, Alpha, Delta to be president. Nobody's want that. We want somebody that's going to lift up the community, especially the black community. Now, would Tulsi Gabbard, another woman of color, may not be of African-American descent, but she is Hindu, come from a staunch Christian background, but hey, I did too. Probably still hold to a lot of her faith like I do. Not going to give it up for you or nobody. But understand that the God that me and her serve is actually a God of love. And if you hear it in a talk, you see it in a voice, you see it in a walk, and her concern is love. Now, she's not the greatest eloquent speecher. She don't have that punchline and talking about going toe-to-toe with Trump. she probably get brutalized by Trump. Trump probably be nasty to her, but I don't think Trump can, because Trump tried to get her to be part of his staff. And she respectfully told him no. I really feel that Trump got a lot of respect for her. And a lot of Republicans think, well, if Trump got respect for her, then that means she's a bad apple. Why it got to be that way? Good and bad can't respect a person? Come on. Good and bad respect Hillary Clinton? So in the middle of this, in the middle of her campaigning, the smear merchants started to go out and start smearing her. To get you to look at her past instead of looking at her present and looking at her policies. Now, Ms. Harris, we looked at her past, and we seen her past determine her future. We're looking at Tulsi Gabbard's past. Will it determine her future? Now, if you know me, I'm not for what you finally came up to all of a sudden believed and you want to push in your campaign. I'm looking at what you've always believed. Because what you always believe still is part of your belief to this day, unless something automatically, magically decide to change your heart. You think Kamala Harris is really about single parent? No, she backtracked, she moonwalked, she put it in reverse. Why? Because she want to save the privatizing of Medicare, so her big donors from the pharmaceutical industry, from the medical complex, can still get their pay. When Americans in majority are saying, no, we need to just kick all these. Look, no, we need either you going to get into this system and we're going to do a Medicare for all. That way nobody is left out. By the way, a story of a kid who I just recently found out, I'm not going to report on it, got sick at school. The teacher took him to the hospital because mom was sick herself. And she had a guardian, but the guardian was at work. So the teacher took the kid to the school to get some medical care. They denied the teacher the Medicare for the child because he didn't have no medical plan. So she tried another hospital and tried to use her insurance for her kids to get the child some needed help. They turned them down. If we had a Medicare for all system, nobody ever have to worry about that. It don't matter who you are. Joe Blow, your name in the system, you could walk in as a child yourself. As long as you can get some permission from your mother, father, or some guardian, they'll care for you. Now, let me get back on this subject. So now she announced her candidacy for president. She was one of Bernie Sanders' biggest supporters. And all of a sudden, NBC comes out with this crock of an article trying to say anybody that is in support of her got to be influenced by Russia. Oh, you can't make up your own mind. You got to be dumb. You don't have your own thinking process. You've been brainwashed by Russians because you've been on Facebook and Snapchat and all that. I'm not even on Snapchat. I barely really get on Instagram. I'm on it, but I very rarely get on it. I'm on Facebook, yes. I can't make my decision to be a smart voter, to look at a person's policy, see what they've done in the past, what they're doing currently now, and what they plan on doing. I can't do that and make a logical decision. Man, get out of my face with that stuff. Do not let this government, especially this party, try to pull the way you think. You're a free thinker. Now, I'm not talking about the Kanye West type. You're a free thinker. You have the ability to go check somebody's record, what they did in the past, what they're doing now, what they're going to do in the future, and make a decision whether you want to vote. I will never tell you who to vote for. I may tell you who I vote for. I may not tell you who I vote for. None of your business. But I'm telling you, I'm not falling for this old okie doke. You're not just going to throw any candidate in my face with the fear of Trump. Trump need to go, and there's certain people don't need to be running for office. And Kamala the Cop Harris, the super cop, the female version of Joe Clark. But here we are. We got Tulsi Gabbard, a woman that served her country in the military. that has a track record in the past and currently doing things right now. When she tried to put that bill forth to get the government to stop funding these terrorists, boy, the military complex went off. Oh, they just went off. The neocons on the left and the right went slam off. I dare you. You messing with my pocket. These people pay me to keep these wars going on. Dude, let's get this straight. We have not been, nobody attacked the United States. The last attack the United States had was 9/11. That was from not Saddam Hussein. It wasn't even Saddam. We went and bombed Saddam Hussein and he had nothing to do with it. But the bottom line is, every time something happened bad in America, we somewhere in the middle of the mess. Our government doing something stupid, like funding rebels with our tax dollars. But yet, when somebody says something about single payer for all, how you gonna pay for it? Well, you paying for it over there overseas. Right now, there's nobody who literally Syria didn't attack us. Libya didn't attack us, but Hillary Clinton and Obama went ahead and did that measure and went and bombed Libya, killed Gaddafi. Now they down there doing slave trading. Innocent people being traded off on the slave block because of a dumb war we went to fight for. Didn't know what we were going to do afterward. Now we're trying to do that. We're about to do that with Venezuela, trying to send troops over there. We're trying to do that in Syria. We need to mind our own business. We're trying to pull troops out of Syria. Trump trying to pull it out. The only good thing that fool did, or at least trying to do, he's trying to do it, but neocons like John Bolton and these other knuckleheads trying to convince the man not to do it, trying to shame him into not pulling troops out of Syria. We don't need to be in Syria. We have nothing to do with Syria. Syria did nothing to us. Iran have not done nothing to us. I can see if they done something to us, yeah, go get them. But they have not done nothing. We're spending billions and even trillions of dollars just to look for a fight when we don't have to. Yet people down here in the United States are struggling. Cost of living is high as a kite. Medication is high. The rent is too doggone high. Everything is high. But yet you want to talk about how we going to pay for simple programs. Back to Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard is saying, look, we need to stop these regime change wars. Take that funding and bring it back to the United States and fund the needs of the people, because it's their money and it should be used to benefit them. Now, in a couple of days, I'm going to talk about the New York race with public advocate and Namiki Kans, who's pushing for $30 an hour minimum wage in New York City, because $15 is not enough. Believe me, I know. Now, I'm trying to get a little bit into this article. I'm not going to read too much. But the title by itself is right there. Russian propaganda machine discovers 2020 Democratic candidate Tulsi Gabbard. Nah, baby. No, you're not going to do this. Experts. What expert? Who are the experts? Let's see if they're going to talk about the expert. Experts who track websites and social media linked to Russia have seen stirring of a possible campaign of support for Hawaii Democratic Tulsi Gabbard. Now, if you're a Russian living in America, it's your right to support Tulsi Gabbard if you want to. You're in America. If you're in America and you're on a visa or whatever, or you're an actual Russian American, you got a right to participate in the political process. They want to make it seem like they don't. And I hate when they say this. They say Russian propaganda. They don't say Russian propaganda from the Russian government. They just say Russia's propaganda. I hate when they do that. Just say it. Is it Russia or is it the Russian government? Now let's read a little bit of this article. The Russian propaganda machine that tried to influence the 2016 U.S. election is now promoting the presidential aspirations of controversial. Why she is so controversial? What did she do? Kamala Harris put parents in jail just because their kids were skipping school. That's not controversial? Kamala Harris kept two innocent men in prison when they were found innocent, kept them in there almost a year. That's not controversial? Kamala Harris allegedly built her campaign by having an affair with Willie Brown, and that's not controversial? Get out of here with this mess. But this is what they say, who earlier this month declared their intention to run for president. An NBC News analysis of the main English language news site employed by Russia in its 2016 mailing shows Representative Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii, who is set to make her formal announcement, which she already did, this is old news, has become a favorite of the sites Moscow used when it interfered in 2016. Come on with this bull crap, people. You got to understand who is behind NBC. NBC is not Republican. NBC is one of the staunchest Democratic operative machine, political news machines ever. And here they are smearing another Democrat. That's what ticks me off. And this is what turned people off about the party. And you find people going independent, and some of these independents end up voting for Trump. Is this mess right here. When they find a candidate that they can support, you're going to try to smear their candidate and smear them and then expect them to vote for the corporate candidate. How dumb you are. Man, this ticks me off. It says several experts who track websites and social media linked to the Kremlin. Like people from the Kremlin can't go on Tulsi Gabbard's website. Or like they don't go on Kamala. Like, look, if I want to, I can go on some Russian websites. Easy. Do that mean I'm in cahoots and trying to influence the Russian elections? How dumb you are to think that. Actually, it's not dumb. It's very smart. It is a operative. They know what they're doing. They're trying to control the election by controlling who gets to be put in office. The goal is smear and make one candidate look bad so the other one can look good. I'm not having it, and you shouldn't have it. Now, let me keep going. Since Gabbard announced her intention to run on January 11th, there have been at least 20 Gabbard stories on 3 major Moscow-based English language websites. Now, get this now. Since she started running, there's been 20 Gabbard stories. What's wrong with Moscow writing stories on Gabbard? Are you upset because they ain't wrote no story on Cory Booker? Because they haven't wrote a story? They can't write too much story on Cory Booker because Newark ain't all that hot. So he can't tout what he did in Newark because he didn't do all that great in Newark. To me, he saw opportunity to become senator and he took it. I see Cory Booker as an opportunist. One thing I can say about Cuomo, he could have ran for president, even though I don't get along with him and I don't like him too much because I think he's a snake. He's done some good policies in New York City, and I give him credit for that. And yet, all this time, he's still pushing his governorship. He wasn't looking for the quickest opportunity to become president when he could have. So they're trying to say 20 Gabbard stories on 3 major base. You trying to tell me MSNBC is not influenced by our government? Because you're lying. Because every time we turn around, all it is politicians on MSNBC. Morning Joe, Joy, AM Joy, you name it. Same thing with CNN. And you try to tell me the United States don't have influence on our media? But as soon as we talk, that's all they can talk about is RT. So they start talking about Tulsi Gabbard, and they assume that the Russians are in for Tulsi Gabbard, and they're going to try to steer the election to Tulsi Gabbard. No, what it is you're scared. You're scared that this lady has the chance to become the first woman president. She's a woman of color. But it doesn't matter whether you're white, black. It doesn't matter to me. Whether you're female, male, it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is your policies, dog. What matters to me is your policies. All 3 sites celebrated Gabbard's announcement. Okay, Russians celebrate Gabbard's announcement running for president. Why is that? Let's talk about that. Why is the Russian government happy about Gabbard's announcement and not Kamala Harris? Is it because Kamala Harris's Woman of color. Gabbard is a woman of color. Kamala Harris is majority Indian descent. A little bit of Jamaican, but mostly Indian descent. Gabbard is Hindu. I mean, not Hindu. Hindu is a religion. Indian descent. And I'm not talking about Native American. I'm talking about from India. So what's the big deal of them being happy about her run? I'm quite sure a lot of countries are happy that she's running. Why? Because she's pro-peace. Which means if she's in office, she ain't gonna be doing this bull crap of regime change wars and sending folks overseas to fight dumb wars just to get oil and resources. So they got a reason. But if they put Kamala Harris going total party line, she's a centric Democrat and she's gonna be for war, just like the rest of the centric Democrat. And I always separate, not all Democrats the same. Talking about the centrists, the corporatists, the one that pretty much are Republicans. It said Gabbard was mentioned on 3 sites about twice as often as 2 of the best known Democratic possibilities of 2020, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. Why is that? Because Joe Biden is a war hawk. Him and President Obama got together and took the 2 wars and made it into 7. Instead of sending troops on the ground, we started a disastrous drone strike programs, and we killed more innocent kids, elderly people than the actual terrorists. 98% of our targets had nothing to do with the terrorists. We bombed schools, we bombed hospitals, innocent people died because of the drone strike. And you get somebody that who is trying to change this, who's trying to get rid of this disastrous U.S. foreign policy, a regime change war, of course they're going to be happy about that. I'll be happy too. Because all you're trying to do right now with this Russian propaganda is start stuff with Russia. To put sanctions on Russia. To starve the Russian people who had nothing to do with what they may do in the Kremlin or Vladimir Putin may do. Just like most of the Americans here, the people of the United States, have nothing to do with what our government is doing. Don't even prove this crap of our government is doing their own thing and we don't approve it. The Russian government does their own thing. The people of Russia don't approve it. The Israeli government doing disastrous things. That don't mean the people approve it. So stop with this mess, man. The reason they're celebrating because they know Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, and even Bernie Sanders still have a little bit of a reason to go to war. Now, Bernie Sanders is a little more anti-war. Elizabeth Warren, a little more anti-war. But most of these corporate Democrats are not. They love it. Why? Because they get money from these people like Raytheon and Northrop Grumman and all these other military building companies, Boeing and all them. They get the money. MSNBC themselves, who wrote this article, get majority of their money to run that news station from Raytheon, Northrop Grumman. All these military companies that build ships and airplanes and stuff like that. And they need to use it. I'm almost done with this story, man. It said Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren had fewer. So let me go back to it. Gabbard was mentioned on the 3 sites about twice as often as the 2 of the best known Democratic possibilities for 2020. Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, each with 10 stories. Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren had fewer. In each case, the other contenders were treated more critically than Gabbard, with headlines like "Don't Run," "Vermont paper begs Bernie Sanders not to seek the U.S. presidency in 2020." Hey, it could be a corporate Democrat paper. Of course they don't want Bernie to run because he's going to change things. And sex as much, Biden blames conservative blonde women for shutdown, forgets Ann Coulter name. He promulgates a position compatible with Russia's geostrategic interests can help them mainstream such discussions in the Democratic Party, said Alex Stamos, a former chief security officer. You got somebody that's a former chief security officer, have no access to, have no security clearance to go in and investigate this stuff. All he is a talking head, and you're going to sit there listening to that talking head. Former chief security officer at Facebook, not current chief security officer, former. You gonna listen to the former dude? Wonder why he former. Now an NBC News land. Of course. He's an NBC News analyst, so he gotta talk trash. Dude, you're the former chief security officer at Facebook, which means you don't work there no more. So you need to be quiet. All you is an analyst now. Gabbard said Stamos helped them with all their line of attacks. All right, now I can go into this article. It's pretty long. You take time to take a look at this article, but and read it for yourself. I'm not going to go into it. This article is pretty long. But there's nothing with RT talking about Gabbard. There's nothing wrong with RT talking about Jill Stein. There's nothing wrong with them talking about these things. The reason Russia is excited about Gabbard is because she's anti-war. It's going to take a lot for her to declare war. It's going to take a lot for her to try to use our tax dollars to pay for a crappy war that we shouldn't be involved with. I'm quite sure the only time she's going to have us even think about war if we are personally attacked, not to deal with somebody else's situation. That's why RT is talking about her, because she's the most non-cynical peace talking, other than Jill Stein, candidate in office. Howard Dean used to be that way, but Howard Dean now is a pharmaceutical lobbyist, and all he can do is talk about Tulsi Gabbard as like a dog. Dude, you can't say nothing about nobody because you're a sellout. You went and worked for the lobbyist. That's like me being a union leader or union attorney, and I go work, leave the union, and I go with a corporation that's going to oppress the people at the job. That makes me a sellout. Howard Dean, you're a sucker sellout. You don't need to say nothing about nobody running for office. You tried, you your way, and you lost. That killed your campaign. So you need to be quiet, bruh. Shut up. You have no right to talk about Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, she went and talked to Assad. Why? Because she needed to know what was going on. Maybe talk some sense to this dude. Just because you talk to a fool doesn't mean that you're on the side of a fool. Fool. Maybe you're there to talk some sense. Maybe you're there to get some understanding. My mom said, if you want to know the truth, you got to hear both sides. There's three sides to every story. Your side, her side, and God's side. You need to hear the whole story before you make an assumption. You people, Howard Dean, people like you neoliberals who are just ready to go to war to soothe your donors or soothe the people you work for, you smear her because she's something that you sold out of being. And that's a peace candidate. Now, before I go, let me go into her platform real quick. All right, so where does Tulsi Gabbard stand on the issue? All right, so it's a lot up here, so you can take some time to go to tulsigabbard.org, and you'll see some of the issues she's for. She's for campaign finance reform. Now, as you click this, it goes into detail on what she's done in the past, what she's doing now, and what she plans to do in the future. Remember, I said that. You got to look at what they did in the past. Don't let them fool you. All of a sudden saying they're for something and they never were for it. Let me tell you something. These politicians are lying. They'll trump their way to get your vote. I call it trumping your way, because that's all Trump did was lied, and it worked. A lot of people bought it. And Russia ain't got nothing to do with it. A lot of people bought it. It really gets me. 13 million people left the Democratic Party in 2016, and they're going to say Russia did it. No, you lost because you lost 13 million people. All right, so each one of these that you link on, civil liberties, climate change, how to save the coral reefs in the ocean, criminal justice reform, dealing with the DAPA, the Dakota Access Pipeline, which she actually went there and she's marched and spent quality time with the people at DAPA, while at the same time people were getting their hands blown out because of high pressure water or freezing water being shot at them. She was there in the middle of that. Where was Chuck Schumer? Where was Donald Trump? Where was Jeb Bush? Where was Nancy Pelosi? Where was Cory Booker? Where was Kamala Harris? Nothing. Zip. Where was Obama? Obama said, well, such a situation, and we'll come right back to it. Didn't do nothing. Domestic issues. Domestic violence. She got a platform on dealing with domestic violence, dealing with drinking water and watersheds, keeping the water pure. She has a strong educational policy. Now, I went through this stuff. You got to go on it on your own because I'm not going to do your work for you. Your policies on saving our environment, farming and food security, foreign policy, bringing Glass-Steagall back and dealing with these big banks, breaking them up, geo-labeling, gun violence prevention, immigrations, infrastructure bill, dealing with Islamophobia and any kind of religious phobia, policies on things that you can do to help keep the family together. She has policies on dealing with the LGBTQ community. Now, here's the deal. They tried to smear her because of what she said in the past. When she was a kid, her dad was anti against the LGBT movement. He had to be. He's a conservative Christian. That's what they believe in. All right. She grew out of it. She's a little more open to the rights of the LGBT community, not because of their lifestyle, it's because of who they are. And they should not be discriminated. They should be not shunned. They should not be shamed because of who they are. But she still pushed legislation to make life better for people in the LGBT community. She's pushing marijuana legalization. That ought to help a lot of you people out. She's pushing Medicare for all. She got personal issues she want to deal with Hawaii as president. She want to deal with net neutrality. So you don't hear these coming from Cory Booker or Kamala Harris or Julian Castro or Tulsi Gabbard. I don't hear that coming from them. She's still exploring. I don't think she even announced her race. She want to deal with opiate addiction. She want to raise the minimum wage. She want to deal with the refugee crisis. A whole bunch of things. Regime change, rejecting corporate donation and PAC donation, religious freedom, Saudi Arabia and Yemen, dealing with that, secure elections. She's for ranked choice voting, veterans health care, TPP, all the trade. She's for a whole lot. Sex trafficking, sexual assaults, dealing with these banks, women issues. So she has a platform, and these are the issues that she is promoting. I invite you to go to TulsiGabbard.org and take a look at this issue. Now, back on NBC, listen to me, NBC. Listen to me, any media, any talking heads, any pundits, and even people who are in YouTube or whatever land that you are. And you think you're going to come up here and try to smear people who are really trying to help people. I'm not going to put up with it. Other YouTubers ain't going to put up. And I'm hoping mainstream media don't put up with it, but they sold out. Rachel Maddow making $30,000 a day. She can't say what she want to say. Why? Because the $30,000 is in her mouth. She's muzzled. All she can say is what NBC tell him to say. Anderson Cooper, rich as crap. I don't understand why he not saying what he want to say. He's part of the LGBT community. And you got somebody that want to fight for you? You better not be smearing her. Look, folks, like I told you before, the Russian boss is going to be on. The David Brocks, correct the record, they're going to be out of here. I'm telling you, I'm ready to fight, baby. Bring it on. I'm a black man. I live in America. I love my country. I work a regular job. I don't do YouTube for a living. I do it for a hobby. I don't even ask people to, I say like, share, but I don't beg people to like, share, and subscribe. I don't beg you. You do what you want. I'm here because of the passion in my heart for this country. This is my way of doing what I can to help lift up this country. I'm looking at every candidate, and so far, Tulsi Gabbard to this date, other than Jill Stein, because she's persistent and consistent, they smear her. Why you at a Russian dinner with Vladimir Putin? It was a peace summit, you idiot. A peace summit. Anytime somebody's talking about peace, you want to smear them as a Russian agent. But you let John Bolton, with his mad, crazy behind, try to get us into a war with Iran and support him. Man, y'all crazy, man, with this stuff. You neocons, you neoliberals, you need to stop this stuff. I don't support you. I'm never going to vote for you. Because all you're going to do is get my nieces and nephews killed. Your kids ain't going to war. You want to take our money that we pay taxes for, and I work hard for my check. And you want to take it and give it to the military so you can fight a war that nobody really attacked us on. But the moment we start seeing this money need to go back to the community, which Tulsi Gabbard is saying, and fund the needs of the American people, as she said in her ad, you call us crazy. You call us Russian bots. You want to call us all kind of names in the book. No, you crazy. You crazy. We're going to let y'all do this. The day of these politicians thinking they can do whatever they want and still let us keep voting them into office. You can try all the fear tactics you want. It ain't working. The only fear that I got is you fools not doing your job when I put you in office. People out here struggling. People can't buy diapers. People can't buy milk. Trump trying to cut programs. Government, Republicans cutting programs. Democrats siding with them of all people. You siding with them on these programs. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Trump having these little pity fights and people sitting up there not getting paid as federal workers. Oh, a freaking wall that $5 billion won't even buy half of a wall. We spent over $8 billion in that dumb fight over a $5 billion wall. $3 billion in the hole. Who gonna pay for it? Me, regular people. We paying for it. All these dumb fights. And here you got a peace candidate who wants to run for office, has a great platform, been fighting before, during, and in the future, have put out legislation to stop funding terrorists so the money can come back here, trying to stop regime wars, pushing for legislation to help working people, and you want to smear her as a Russian bot. Man, get out of here. If anybody a Russian bot, it's you. Here's the bottom line. I'm going to end with this. Y'all let this loss to Hillary Clinton cause y'all to go crazy. My book, she and Trump should have never ran. Both of them are crooks. The crooked is the crook. Trump may be a little more crooked. Clinton may be like, I don't know. All I know is they crooks. And when you vote the lesser of two evil, guess what you're going to get in office? Evil. You need to start thinking about voting for the greater good. People are going to really do good for the people. You got people who got their own personal ambitions. I want to be the first woman president. I want to be the first business president. I want to use my presidency to boost my business when I get out. These cocky, arrogant, selfish people running for office. You got 2 billionaires. They're running for office because they don't want nobody to have Medicare for all because they're scared it's going to hit them in the pockets in taxes. They scared of Ocasio-Cortez 70+% over $10 billion. They scared of that. So they want to run off for office to stop that. Bloomberg and Schultz are rather run in the Democratic Party or as an independent to stop the Democrats from winning with the radical. They'd rather have Trump stay in office so they can keep their money. Democrats now. Here you got a man who was a Republican, ran as an independent. Now he want to run as a Democrat. A billionaire, Bloomberg. And y'all talking about y'all support him. Get out of here. Anyway, man. I'm Rob Brown with the Rob Report. I know this went kind of long. Holler at you later. Peace. And by the way, if you like the content and you want to, please like it. Please like it. At least like it. Share it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you want to donate to the channel, there's a super chat down at the bottom. So I'll just give you an opportunity to do that. You ain't got to do it. But it's there. Okay. All right. I'll holler at you on the next one.